Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Omni in Atlanta for Game 2 in the best-of-7 Eastern Conference Semifinal series between the Indiana Pacers and the Atlanta Hawks. Indiana currently up 1-0 in the series. I'm Pete Van Weren, joined again tonight by Cleveland Cavaliers head coach Mike Fratello. And Mike, going into this series, we felt that the outcome could be determined by the play of the guards, Mookie Blaylock of Atlanta, Reggie Miller of Indiana in particular. And apparently both coaches agreed because they really concentrated their defenses on these two in Game 1.
Pete, we thought we had a secret, but it was apparent that both teams were well schooled in taking the opposing guard out of having a big night. And when that happens, then someone else has to step up. And for Indiana, it was the bench. Outscoring Atlanta's bench 35-14. The Pacers were led by Antonio Davis, 15 points, 6 rebounds. And it was obvious that when the big men paid a little bit too much attention to Reggie Miller and tried to help out, it let Antonio Davis slip screens, get inside, and finish with dunks. They'll have to keep bodies on and pay a little bit more attention to those big guys this evening.
Lenny Wilkins a little worried going into this series that the Hawks, after a 5-game battle with Miami, had little time to prepare for Indiana. And in Game 1, the fatigue factor did show.
From Lenny Wilkins, there are 3 things I'm concerned about. First is the consistency level, the energy level over 48 minutes. They played an excellent first 24 minutes, but in the second half of Game 1, their defensive pressure dropped down. They didn't shoot the ball nearly as well. Secondly, get on the glass. Out-rebounded 48-33. They give up 16 offensive rebounds. They'll have to body check better, maintain contact up front. The last thing is a concern about Mookie Blaylock. During the regular season, he averaged about 36 minutes a game, and Enos Watley, his backup, had about 12. In Game 1, Blaylock 40 minutes, Watley only 8, and Blaylock's doing everything. Pressuring the basketball, bringing it up. They may have to use some other people and distribute the ball a little bit more, take some of the pressure off Mookie.
Hawks battle to the final week of the season to get the home court advantage in the East, but the home court hasn't treated them well. Only 2-2 at home in the first 2 rounds of the playoff. All the action coming up next from Atlanta.
Now get America's #1 selling minivans in time for summer. The Chrysler Plymouth Minivan Vacation Celebration. Air and automatic at no extra charge and $500 cash back on Plymouth Voyager. Prices as low as $15.20. And on Grand Voyager and Chrysler Town & Country, get cash back and option discounts of up to $10.63. Plus, up to $1,000 in option package values on Voyager and Grand Voyager. The Minivan Vacation Celebration at the Minivan Store at your Chrysler Plymouth dealer.
Got the winning color.
Make your engine last longer. Change your oil every 3,000 miles and use the newest Pennzoil. Now with the revolutionary Pennstar molecule, Pennzoil works like liquid ball bearings, clings in, on, around, and between moving parts to reduce heat, friction, and wear.
Pennzoil just keeps getting better and better.
Makes me feel even better about using it in my car.
Pennzoil says it works like liquid ball bearings, and if they say it, I'll believe it.
You got the winning color.
If you're going to do something different, you better do it better. Take this incredible camcorder, the Sharp View Cam. The viewfinder, gone. Replaced with this LCD view screen. So it sits in your hand, not stuck to your face. I can shoot up, down, even myself. And watch this, instant playback.
Come on, Daddy.
View Cam, only from Sharp. Now score big. Get up to a $200 rebate when you buy a Sharp View Cam. Hurry, call 1-800-B-SHARP and see it at your dealer today.
Welcome back to the Omni, and here are tonight's Chrysler Plymouth starting lineups. No change for either team. McKee, Dale Davis, Smits, Miller, and Workman for the Pacers. Manning, Willis, Koncak, Augman, and Blaylock for the Atlanta Hawks. Larry Brown hoping to get his Pacers off to a 2-0 start before heading for home in games 3 and 4 back in Indianapolis over the weekend. And Lenny Wilkins realizing that an awful lot's at stake in tonight's game. If you lose the first 2 at home, we just saw that happen to the Houston Rockets in their series with Phoenix. You got to feel your chances of winning a best-of-7 series not all that good.
This almost is a must game for the Atlanta Hawks to go back to Indiana, where first of all they have to play back-to-back games Saturday and Sunday, which will favor the Indiana Pacers in my opinion. And then the number of games are building up for the Atlanta Hawks in very few days. If you go back to the Atlanta series and then this series, a lot of games in few days. Got to win this one at home tonight.
Our officials tonight, Joey Crawford, Jack Nees, and N.F. Rush. And we are just about set to get underway. Everybody on their feet here at the Omni. A very animated crowd tonight. They want to get these Hawks even with the Pacers in this best-of-7 set. This is as far as Indiana has ever gone in an NBA playoff. First time the Hawks have gotten this far since 1988. We're underway, and the Hawks will have the ball first. Kevin Willis trying to get the ball over to Koncak, and that was Workman getting a hand on it off Koncak's fingertips out of bounds.
Hawks started out by running their movement offense, that flex that they had used last game a couple times, got some easy scores. Indiana was ready, switched out, forced the turnover.
Haywood Workman, who had a good game one against Mookie Blaylock, both offensively and defensively. Gets it into Rick Smith. Smith's over Koncak. Koncak partially blocked that. Danny Manning comes up with it. There's the football pass down to Stacey Augmon, but it wouldn't go for him, nor would the putback by Kevin Willis. Another offensive board by Willis. Another miss. And a whistle. Loose ball foul. We're going to get a foul call against Atlanta. It's on Stacey Augmon. In game one, Indiana coming from behind in the first half to win it by 11. They had a much better field goal percentage. There's the rebound figure you talked about, Mike, 48-33. And Kevin Willis got off to a good start in that game, 13 points in the first quarter, but almost disappeared after that, just 4 points. Reggie Miller from outside, too strong with the shot. Rebound comes out deep to Danny Manning.
It's 2 set plays in a row that Indiana has run in trying to get Reggie Miller off. First time he set a baseline screen, Smith was open, lost his balance. That time they looked right to Reggie.
And Kevin Willis on the way up. Got fouled by Haywood Workman. That's his first. Lenny Wilkins talking about Kevin Willis this morning, is hoping that his shot selection would be a little bit better in this game. He was taking a lot of outside jump shots, and that's not the shot you want to see Kevin taking.
2 things that jump out at you off the stat sheet from game number 1. 3 3-point attempts for Kevin Willis, 0 for 3. Maybe 1 a game, okay, all right? But 3, let's get serious about it. Second thing, only 1 free throw attempt. As strong as Kevin is, you think of him down low on that block, he should be shooting more free throws. He just 1.
The Hawks on the board first, apply some backcourt pressure. Workman brings it down against Blaylock. Reggie Miller to Rick Smith's left uncovered top of the circle. He can hit that shot. And we're tied at 2. Mookie dishing off to Stacey Augmon. Good D there by Indiana. Comes back out to Danny Manning, trying to get it back inside. Hawks almost lost it. Outside Koncak, Stacey has to back it out. Some good defense being played by Indiana.
They recover quickly. They get back to their people. There's a small opening. You have to take advantage of it.
Kevin Willis hitting that jump shot. He's got all 4 Atlanta points. Hawks up by 2 over the Pacers. Just underway here in Atlanta. Derek McKee had a very quiet offensive game. And we're going to get a goaltend call against Kevin Willis. And McKee, who scored just 2 points in game 1, has his first 2 tonight. Tied at 4. Danny Manning will take the jumper on the feed from Mookie Blaylock. Stacey Augmon the offensive rebound. Early in the game, the Hawks doing a much better job than Indiana on the boards. And a good pass there to Kevin Willis, who has scored all 6 Atlanta points. Hawks up by 2.
One of the keys in trying to defend Blaylock is keep him out of the lane. Cut down his dribble penetration. That's why you try to force him to take the perimeter shot. Hope he's having one of those nights where they're just not going down.
Down low to Rick Smith. His jump hook over Koncak is too strong. Into the arms of Willis. Off to Mookie Blaylock. And the Hawks turn the ball over. Mookie Blaylock signaling to John Koncak, I thought you were going to cut.
There was eye contact there between Blaylock and John Koncak. Mookie thought he was going to continue down to the deep left corner, which was wide open. John pulled up short, the errant pass.
Indiana gets it back down by 2. McKee, the jumper over Danny Manning and Derek McKee. Larry Brown voicing his hopes this morning they could get a little more out of McKee tonight than they did in game 1, and so far they have. He's got 4 of Indiana's 6 points. Konkak will take the jumper over Rick Smits. It's short, and there's the first Indiana rebound of the game. Comes down to Reggie Miller. McKee into the paint to Smits. Has the dish attack outside. Back low to Rick Smits. And Smits hits his second basket of the game. He's got 4 points. And Indiana up by 2 now. Nobody on Mookie. He'll take the three-pointer. It won't go. And the rebound pulled away by Dale Davis.
I've mentioned a number of times when Blaylock makes his first shot behind the three-point line, it usually is a good sign for the Hawks. They let him shoot that first one. He missed it.
He gets it down along the baseline to Stacey Augmon. Basket wouldn't go, but Stacey will get a trip to the free throw line out of this. McKee's first foul.
Second team foul of the quarter. Plastic hand at the line.
Atlanta obviously looking to set the stage, set the tempo on how they want to play the game this evening. Get the crowd involved, get out in the open floor, releasing on shots, looking down the floor for long passes to try and get transition scores.
Well, before the series began, Lenny Wilkins commenting on the strong point of the Hawks is their transition game on offense. And one of the weak points of the Indiana Pacers is their transition defense. Indiana wants to play a half-court game. Hawks want to play a transition game. 8-7 Pacers. 8 minutes to go in the first quarter. Reggie from deep in two-point territory. Another rebound for Mookie Blaylock. Gets it down to Danny Manning. He's got Miller to beat. And a whistle before the shot. Reggie Miller's first. Third team foul.
Reggie Miller got back, had good position defensively. Manning had to change his course to the basket. At that point, Miller had to make a decision. Let him go or try and slide under him. He moved into him. Good call with the foul.
Willis back outside to Konkak. Again, he'll take the shot from the top of the key, and it wouldn't go for him. Rebound comes out deep to Workman. They get the ball back to Rick Smits, and Smits operating on Konkak. We get another whistle. Konkak called for his first. They've been going to Smits a lot early in this first quarter, Mike.
Trying to establish the low post game, see if they can get him off early, see if they can get some double teams, and hopefully be able to kick out and over and find Reggie Miller for some open shots. But as Lenny Wilkins told us, Miller's the kind of guy that you don't leave. You stay with him. I doubt if Augmon will leave him a whole lot and give him open looks in their rotations.
Well, Miller shook free of Augmon that time, but came up short with a jumper. And the ball went over the top of the glass. It goes back to Atlanta. So the Hawks down by 1.
Reggie Miller was out before the game working with one of the assistant coaches on shooting the basketball. The shot just does not look good right now coming out of his hand. He was having problems pregame shooting the basketball. He's coming out with very little rotation on it, shooting the ball flat. He's rushing it, trying to get it up there before Stacey Augmon can recover with those long arms and challenge.
And that's after a 5 for 14 shooting night in game 1. Down to 4 seconds left on the shot clock. Danny Manning takes it home, but it wouldn't fall. Around and out. Manning gets the offensive rebound. The putback attempt is good. First 2 of the game for Danny Manning, and the Hawks take a 1-point lead.
Atlanta's gone back to a lot of two-man basketball, pick-and-roll basketball. They've run 2 for Mookie already. That time they had a 3-5 pick-and-roll involving Danny Manning. They didn't run that many in a whole half last game.
Get a foul call against Manning here, his first. So it's 6:23 to go in quarter number 1. The Atlanta Hawks have taken a 9-8 lead over the Indiana Pacers. We've got a timeout.
What time is it? Do or die time. Houston must win in Phoenix. Rockets, Suns tomorrow at 10:30.
But first,
down 2. Chicago makes a homestand. Knicks, Bulls tomorrow at Eastern on
TNT.
Announcing the Chrysler New York Elise, For only $294 a month, the car you've admired on the road can easily be in your driveway. New Yorker provides a spacious 6-passenger interior, dual airbags, a 214 horsepower engine, and ABS brakes. But don't delay. This is a limited offer. Chrysler New Yorker, an eloquent expression of form following function. At your Chrysler Plymouth dealers for only $294 a month.
I'm from New York, and nobody plays basketball like they do here.
It is Chicago ball. Oh, Pippen fooled the Suns.
Well, I mean, they certainly don't pass like they do in New York.
Here comes Golden State.
Another great pass. Johnson to Weber.
Okay, but they definitely don't jam like they do in New York.
Look out for Miami.
All right, so that's the thing about the NBA. It's great everywhere. I love this game. All right, well, let's talk about New York Bagels. Come on.
Tomorrow night, Spike Lee will take us back to the days of the Jackson 5, the Partridge Family, the Afro haircut, in his new movie, Crooklyn. Talk to a great filmmaker tomorrow night on Larry King Live, 9 Eastern on CNN.
We talked about two-man basketball, pick-and-roll basketball. John Koncak is on his way over to set his screen. Rick Smits, the defensive player, knows that Koncak wants to come and screen for Manning, but Smits puts his body into him and tries to push him as far up to half court as possible so that he destroys the screen, basically. Well, what Manning says is, I'll just go underneath the pick-and-roll. I see the split, gets a good look at the rim, stays with it, and then the ability to get shots up in traffic. Danny Manning, one of the best in the league at it.
And so far, one of those areas of concern for the Atlanta Hawks coming into the game after game one is working in their favor. The rebounding. Out-rebounded 48-33 in game one. They have out-rebounded Indiana 9-4 so far here in game two.
And of those 9-4 are offensive rebounds, so they're working on the glass right now.
Down low to Smits again. Over John Koncak. In and out. Rebound Kevin Willis. He's picked up 4 but minus 10 boards. Mookie Blaylock gets the pick set by Koncak, and Mookie drains his first basket of the night. Hawks up by 3, 11-8. Just under 6 minutes to go in this first quarter. That's a 2-pointer. If it goes, it does. And a technical foul has been called by Joey Crawford on Stacey Augmon. Reggie Miller hitting his first 2 of the night to make it 11-10.
The official's job is to make the call. If you want to hit a player with a technical foul, hit him with a technical foul. After that, the official should walk away. You're not trying to bait a player into a second technical foul. Do what you have to do. If you want to call a technical, call it, then walk away and leave the player alone. If the player comes after you, well, then he's asking for a second one.
So Stacey Augmon picking up a tee here early. Reggie Miller hits the free throw to tie the game at 11.
Jackie Neese putting the ball back in play.
And Stacey Augmon was still glaring at Joey Crawford while the inbounds pass was taking place. Stacey runs into 4 blue shirts. And the foul will be on Rick Smits. That's his first, the team's 4th.
Go back to that technical foul and what I was talking about. After the technical was called, just turn and walk away. There doesn't have to be any dialogue between the official and the player. Let it go, or else you put the player and yourself in a very potentially dangerous situation by heating up a guy who's already hyped up for a basketball game.
Manning passing inside to Willis. They double him up down there outside to Koncak. He's missed a couple of these. Now he's missed 3 of them. Now the rebound pulled away by Dale Davis. Indiana with a chance to grab the lead here. Haywood Workman, what a story he's been for Indiana this year. Rick Smits over Koncak. Nope. Rebound, Mookie Blaylock. Hawks in transition. Mookie's going to take it through the paint for 2. Mookie Blaylock has 4, and the Hawks have a 13-11 lead.
First thing in defensive transition that you talk about is stopping the basketball. That time, Blaylock went from top of the circle to finishing at the other end. You must stop the basketball, make him pass it to another player, and then recover defensively.
Eric McKee gets into the paint, dishing off to Haywood Workman. Workman's going to take a three-pointer, and he hits it. Haywood Workman, who was originally drafted by the Atlanta Hawks, says he's on a mission anytime he plays against the Hawks. But Mookie goes coast to coast for 2 more. He's got 6, and the Hawks have the lead back.
Workman's falling back underneath the foul line and trying to pick up Mookie Blaylock. He's got to locate the ball earlier, and his teammates have to help by getting back in transition.
0 for 2 on that exchange. The ball still belongs to Atlanta. 21 left in the shot clock.
And that was the hustle of Reggie Miller that time. He saw that Haywood Workman was caught 2-on-1, about to give up a layup. Miller hustled from behind, got the deflection, knocked it out of bounds, saved the potential layup.
Antonio Davis, who was one of the heroes for Indiana in game 1, checks back in. Rick Smith's sitting down for the Pacers. And here comes Andrew Lang checking into the Atlanta Hawks lineup, and he'll get John Koncak. 4:04 to go in this opening quarter. Atlanta leading Indiana 15-14 in game 2 of this best-of-7 series. Comes down along the baseline to Manning. There's one of those unorthodox shots of his. It fell out for him. Kevin Willis the rebound, and his putback attempt around and out. Rebound Dale Davis off to Reggie Miller. He's got Antonio Davis open in the corner. Antonio Davis and Haywood Workman, the 2 best stories on this Indiana team this year. They were expected to be number 11 and 12 as far as playing time on this Indiana team when the season began. And they are key members of this Pacer team now. It still belongs to the Pacers. Only 1 second left on the shot clock.
The NBA plays hard during the regular season, and then when it gets to playoff time, everyone steps it up just a little bit more. Everyone's scrambling for loose balls, rotating to block and challenge shots, getting down on the floor to try and save a ball before it goes out of bounds.
But only a second left on the shot clock. And a timeout's going to be taken here by the Indiana Pacers with 3:29 remaining in the opening quarter. 15-14, Atlanta leading Indiana.
Grandpa Shaq, tell us how basketball used to be.
Well, the basket wasn't always 20 feet tall.
What about 100-yard courts?
Not even close.
What happened?
All sport.
New All Sport. Unsurpassed taste. A third more carbs than Gatorade for energy. This is a body quencher.
After All Sport, the game was a breeze. Until they put in the moving basket.
All Sport. The game will never be the same.
Even the good things in life must change, like America's best-selling convertible, Chrysler LeBaron convertible. So for '94, we decided to make a few extra changes. We included air, automatic power windows, and dual airbags standard. We even made a few structural improvements. Oh, and there was one other little change, the lease payment. It's not $429 a month, not even $329. The '94 Chrysler LeBaron convertible is just $249 a month, and that's change you can put in your pocket. Hurry to your Chrysler Plymouth dealer.
Make your money work harder than ever. Call now for your free Wall Street Journal Guide to Understanding Money and Investing. It focuses on financial markets so you can make informed choices. Call now to get your guide free when you subscribe to the Wall Street Journal, where you'll find information you need to get ahead. Get 10 weeks of the journal for just $36 and the Guide to Understanding Money and Investing free with your paid subscription. Call toll-free 800-421-2000. That's 800-421-2000.
This program is authorized under broadcasting rights granted by the National Basketball Association. Any publication, reproduction, or other use of pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the National Basketball Association is prohibited.
We talked about transition defense. Haywood Workman sees that in the right lane, Stacey Augmon is out there about to fill, and he knows that Mookie likes to pitch the ball ahead. So he hustles back to try and cut off that pass. But by extending himself too far to the right, Mookie sees a path to the basket to his left so that he can immediately cross over right to left and get in the lane. Here's the right to left crossover taking place. The path is there. He now finishes for the score. The ball must be stopped at the top of the circle.
And if you look at that graphic on minutes played, regular season 36, playoffs 38 minutes, it doesn't look like that big a difference. You say, hey, what's 2 minutes a game?
But let's keep in mind that he also played 2 extra games in round 1 against Miami. So he built up another, what, 76, 80 minutes of play,
right?
and critical games that they had to win or they were going home. So the fatigue factor is a concern.
Andrew Lang, the rebound. Hawks have now out-rebounded Indiana 13-8 in this first quarter. Lead at 15-14. This season series during the regular season and game 1 of the playoffs, low scoring. Now this one's starting out that way. Danny Manning from outside, short. Rebound, Dale Davis. He's got 5 rebounds already. Byron Scott has checked into the Pacers lineup, misses his first effort. Rebound Manning. Blaylock trying to get it down to Stacey Augmon, stolen by Haywood Workman. Dale Davis crossed to a wide open Byron Scott. You don't want to see that if you're a Hawks fan. Byron Scott usually, when he's that open, hits those. Down to Stacey Augmon in the paint. Nobody hitting anything right now. That one was partially blocked by Antonio Davis. And now Indiana gets their 3rd trip down the court since the timeout ended. A miss by Workman. Rebound Kevin Willis. Down to Mookie Blaylock. Just over 2 minutes. Stacey Augmon slips his man. 2 misses as Manning couldn't put it back. Kevin Willis finally does. 8 points for Kevin Willis. Hawks lead 17-14.
The hustle points right now are in favor of the Atlanta Hawks. Doing the small things, getting after loose balls, following up the first miss with second shot opportunities. Already here, they have 7 offensive rebounds. More shot opportunities at the basket.
Under 2 minutes remaining now in the opening quarter. McKee kicking it back out to Byron Scott. Now McKee will take and hit a 3. He only hit 29% from 3-point territory during the regular season. That's his first one in the playoffs. We are tied at 17. Andrew Lang hit some of these in game 1. Not this time. Antonio Davis, another rebound.
Atlanta has 2 big men who can both make that jump shot from the elbow or just inside the top of the circle area. John Koncak and Andrew Lang.
McKee tried the no-look pass to Workman, stolen by Mookie Blaylock. Length to the court pass to Kevin Willis. Willis slams it home. Kevin Willis with 10, and Atlanta back on top 19-17. Similar start for Kevin Willis to game 1 when he had 13 points in the first quarter, but he really cooled off after that. Down to a minute left in the opening quarter. And an illegal defense call against the Atlanta Hawks.
One thing that Atlanta has is the ability to change ends of the floor, and when you have a center who runs as well as Kevin Willis does, you have to be concerned in matchups. Whenever Willis sees the opportunity to take off and run out, there aren't many big people that change ends as well as he does.
A new guard tandem in for Atlanta. Enos Watley and Craig Elo replacing Blaylock and Augmon. With under a minute now left in the opening quarter. Atlanta leading Indiana 19-17. Antonio Davis had his shot rejected by Andrew Lang. It still belongs to the Pacers. 11 seconds left on the shot clock.
Want to bring somebody's field goal percentage down? Have a big guy around the basket that can do this. That'll save you a few easy buckets.
And it comes to Antonio Davis. Vern Fleming. He was wide open. An easy bucket for Vern Fleming. His first 2 of the game. We're tied again at 19. Watley and Fleming, the 2 backup points. Matched up now, Manning and Mitchell. Manning over Mitchell. Short rebound pulled away by Dale Davis. He lost it to Craig Elo. Quick effort to put it back home. No. Rebound comes off the floor. Saved by Willis. Out to Watley. Now the Hawks can play for a final shot. 10 seconds left in the quarter. Kevin Willis drains the basket, but it will give Indiana a final shot here.
Very fortunate that the ball went in because Willis didn't realize there were only 11 seconds remaining. As it turns out, their defense has forced another turnover. They're going to get it back anyhow. Normally, you would want to hold that for the last shot.
So the Hawks get a break here as Indiana turns the ball over. 2 seconds left with Atlanta leading it 21-19. Kevin Willis with 12 of Atlanta's 21 first quarter points. He also has 9 rebounds already in this first quarter. Dwayne Farrell trying to beat the buzzer and does. A 3-pointer to beat the buzzer by Dwayne Farrell. What a wild final 12 seconds for Atlanta. They get the jump shot by Willis, the Indiana turnover, and the three-point bucket by Farrell.
Well, the Hawks have cornered the market on last-second shots from behind the three-point line. Blaylock did it against Miami from almost half court. This time it's Wayne Farrell who takes the cross-court pass, catches, gets a good look at the basket, and then nothing but the bottom of the net.
24-19 Atlanta over the Pacers at the end of quarter number 1 here in the Omni.
Category.
Music. Deep Purple, man. Classic.
Born.
Huh? Yeah, man.
First album.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
Hey. Ah, Meatloaf.
Wonder what his friends call him. Me?
Mr. Loaf.
How about My Sharona?
Beechwood aged Budweiser.
Supertramp.
Crisp, clean, classic.
Frampton Comes Alive.
Moment of silence, please. Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, all right. All right. Hold on.
How many ways to make a collect call do you need? It's too complicated. Time for a collect call recall. Forget about
1-800-OPERATOR.
or
1-800-COLLECT.
AT&T has a better way. All you need is 1-800-CALL-ATT. Dial it every time you make a collect call. It's new, it's simple. 1-800-CALL-ATT. One number. The lowest price for a collect call. Only from AT&T.
Your true voice.
Having spent $1.3 billion upgrading our hotels, we thought it was time we did something about our sign. Your best bet is a Best Western.
This isn't some blazing spot on the equator. It's the Dutch Boy Paint Testing Facility, where we make sure our exterior house paints resist fading and peeling. It's one of 77 tests we do, so you can give your home the lasting look of Dutch Boy.
Never fought a ticket before, but it was the principle of the thing. Good morning, Your Honor. I brought two. You're not a lawyer. Remember, you are not a lawyer.
Tim Price, Officer Ken Duncan.
Just making an illegal right-hand turn going east on 5th.
Introducing wrinkle-free, 100% cotton Dockers.
Entirely true.
Because there are times when just getting dressed isn't enough.
I got it, Mr. Price. Let me see these. Case dismissed.
Dismissed?
You may go, Mr. Price.
Atlanta 24, Indiana 19 after 1. Lenny Wilkins wanted his team, Mike, to be less predictable this year. Dwayne Farrell only 1 for 9 from three-point territory all during the regular season, and that was a half-court buzzer beater against Orlando back in February. So he would not be the guy you'd be expecting to take this shot and make it.
Well, good fortune favoring Atlanta. Kevin Willis shoots a jumper from the corner with about 10 seconds remaining to end the first quarter. Normally, you would want to hold that for the last shot, but it goes in. As Indiana's bringing it up, Atlanta forces a turnover, which gives them the ball back with just over 2 seconds remaining, and they get a 3 out of that, so they pick up 5 points in those last 10 seconds.
Quarter number 2 underway with Atlanta leading 24-19. Byron Scott got into the paint and got fouled. Enos Watley called for his first. Lang, Watley, Farrell, Elo, and Willis for Atlanta. Scott, Antonio Davis, Fleming, Rick Smith's back in there with Sam Mitchell for Indiana. And away from the ball, another foul call. This one on Andrew Lang, his first.
I think that's one of the toughest calls for officials to make. Who is trying to hold his position? Who is trying to knock him out of that spot? How does the offensive guy get down low and hold it without backing in or knocking the defensive player over? How do you be fair to the defensive guy and let him at least play a physical defense so that the man doesn't back him underneath? It's a tough call for an official.
Vern Fleming hits the jumper from the top of the circle, his 4th point. 24-21, Indiana gets the first 2 points of quarter number 2. Ooh, that was almost stolen by Byron Scott. Greg Elo has to bring it back out, looking inside for Lang. Good defense by Antonio Davis. Vern Fleming comes away with it for the Pacers. And again, away from the ball, a whistle. Antonio Davis called for the offensive foul, his first.
There's the other side of it. This time, the official felt that the offense was taking too much of a liberty in backing or holding off the defensive player. So instead of the foul on the defensive man, it's called on the offensive man, a fine line.
Burrell, top of the circle, no. And the rebound pulled away by Antonio Davis, who glares at Craig Elo as he comes up with that rebound. Vern Fleming gets into the paint and got fouled. That's the third foul called against Atlanta. We're not even a minute and a half into the second quarter yet. Kevin Willis called for that one, his first.
All these little fouls build up into team fouls, which in turn allows a team to get into the bonus free throw situation. Now, Joe Crawford just hit Antonio Davis with a technical, and that's part of that taunting rule that the NBA has put in, where guys are getting in each other's face. It started actually with the rebound, as you mentioned, Pete, when Davis came down with the rebound and looked at the Hawks player right in his face and pulled his arm back. That's some of the taunting stuff that leads to some of the problems. So Joe Crawford decided he's going to straighten that out early.
Dwayne Farrell will shoot the tee, and he missed it. Here's how it all started. It was on a rebound pulled away by Antonio Davis. Now watch him look at Craig Elo. And a couple of words exchanged.
That type of interaction between players that can lead to words, and then the words lead to the next thing, and you don't want those ugly situations in the NBA.
Mitchell trying to feed it underneath, and the Indiana Pacers turn the ball over. That's 5 turnovers for Indiana. Hawks have turned the ball over 3 times. Turnovers have hurt Indiana at times during the year. They ranked 25th in the league during the regular season in turnovers. Only Minnesota and the Los Angeles Clippers turned the ball over more. But they've improved in the playoffs. They're turning the ball over 2 less times, and they're forcing 2 more turnovers. Foul call on Vern Fleming. And look at the forced turnovers that Indiana is coming up with in the playoffs. 18.3 a game. They averaged 16.3 a game during the regular season. That ranked 11th in the league. Elo down low to Kevin Willis, the jump hook. That's a little deep for him to take that shot. Rick Smits the rebound off to Vern Fleming. Hawks leading at 24-21 over the Pacers with 9:50 remaining in the first half. Byron Scott lost the ball. Andrew Lang recovers. Watley got Elo on the left wing. Willis on the right. He gives to Elo. Greg Elo's first basket of the game. Hawks now lead 26-21.
Here's the transition defense you mentioned earlier. A problem for Indiana during the season. The Hawks understanding that if they can defensive rebound or force turnovers, they feel they can get numbers. That time they outnumber the Pacers 3-2 in break.
Rick Smits, that's the second block of the game by Andrew Lang. Vern Fleming left uncovered in the corner, shoots an air ball. Willis to Elo. Hawks on the run again. Elo's going to take it through the paint and get clobbered as he got in there.
It's repeatedly the same problem for Indiana. They do not stop the basketball. Communication. Who's stopping ball? Who's going back to take the overman?
Coming this fall, Sunday Night NFL on TNT.
Over the years, the resale value of the Lexus LS has been extraordinarily high, which is one reason why its lease payments are noticeably low. In fact, now you can lease a Lexus LS for less than you could in 1989. Go figure. The Lexus LS. It's a historic value at your Lexus dealer.
You know you need life insurance to protect the family you love. We know the way things go, it's hard to find the money to pay the premiums. You know you've got to do it, and we know we can help you. To protect your family's future security, many financial advisors recommend insurance coverage equal to 5 times your annual income. Wait, before you say, I can't afford that, look into this money-saving offer from Garden State Life Insurance. If you're in good health and don't smoke cigarettes, Garden State Life can offer you quality term life insurance that may save you as much as 50% off what you're paying for term life insurance protection. Garden State Life guarantees your premiums remain the same for 8, 10, even 20 years to come. So if you need $25,000 to $1 million or more of quality life insurance protection, call today. 800-421-2000 for this free information package and confidential coverage proposal. Garden State Life Insurance, 800-421-2000, 421-2000.
Let's talk fast break basketball. Normally a team on the break wants to center the ball up, get it in the middle, have someone fill the left lane, have someone fill the right lane. From the defensive standpoint, top man wants to stop the basketball. Bottom man will take the first pass either direction, whichever way it goes. On the last fast break opportunity for the Atlanta Hawks, they forced the turnover from Byron Scott. Now, how quickly do they get out and fill? The ball is in the middle of the floor with Watley. They have the right lane filled. They have the left lane filled. The question is, who's going to stop the basketball from going down the lane? Well, the problem is the top man never gets there early enough. The easy layup for Craig Elo.
And the Hawks now lead at 26-21, and fast break points a big part of the reason. 8 for Atlanta, none yet for the Indiana Pacers. Just before the timeout, a foul was called on Sam Mitchell. Craig Elo will be at the line for Atlanta. Elo averaging 12 points a game in postseason play. Makes it 27-21. Atlanta leading Indiana now by 7, 28-21. Elo with 4 points and backcourt pressure applied after the made free throw. Enos Watley still in there at the point guard spot. They are giving Mookie Blaylock some minutes off in this first half, Mike. And again, away from the ball, a foul. This is on Craig Elo, his first. That's the 4th team foul, though.
It's easier to give Mookie Blaylock minutes off when the team that's on the floor either maintains the lead or builds on it. You feel comfortable then. You let the players play that are doing the job. It allows Blaylock to rest. You understand you're going to need him for big minutes in the second half.
Kevin Willis coming out as Danny Manning checks in. Dale Davis back into the lineup for Indiana. At the conclusion of tonight's game, we'll be selecting the Budweiser Player of the Game. Budweiser will donate $1,000 in his behalf to the United Negro College Fund. 8:56 to go in the half. Atlanta leading Indiana by 7. Third block of the quarter by Andrew Lang. 3-point effort by Byron Scott is short. Enos Watley the rebound for Atlanta. Off to Elo in the corner underneath Farrell. Mismatched with Smits. They kick it around to Danny Manning. Manning over Dale Davis. Yes. Danny Manning has 4 points. It's 30-21, 9-point lead for the Atlanta Hawks, their biggest lead in this game. Remember, though, in game 1, Atlanta had a 6-point lead at halftime and led by as many as 12 in the first half, and Indiana came back and won it. Derek McKee, much more active offensively tonight. He has 9 points. In his defense in game 1, he picked up 2 quick fouls. He didn't get many minutes out of McKee in the first half of game 1. 30-23 Atlanta. Lang backing in on Smits. The turnaround Jay over Smits. No. Rebound fought for and finally pulled away by Dale Davis. He's got 6 rebounds in this first half. Fleming looking inside for Smits. Now they send it back out to McKee. McKee to Byron Scott. Scott's got the pick set by Dale Davis, but he's not able to hit that jumper. He's been misfiring tonight in this first half.
It's something we said about game number 1, that the Pacers were having a very difficult time as Elo penetrates, dishes off to Manning. The 2-man game, but in a little different manner. Going back to game 1, we said that Indiana could not hit the perimeter shots, but they made the difference up by offensive rebounding. Find the seam, the sudden screen in transition, the 2-man game. Elo knows that Manning's going to be there the whole time. Intelligent basketball.
Suppose would create a car with an interior so well thought out. It gives you the confidence to perform maneuvers like this, even while you perform maneuvers like this. The Lexus GS.
Michael, what can you tell us about your future plans?
To be frank, I'd like to buy myself a ballpark.
Michael Jordan is going to buy a Major League ballpark. Will he buy Comiskey? Will he buy Yankee Stadium? How much is Jordan willing to pay for a ballpark?
15, 20.
Your usual, Mr. Jordan. 1 ballpark.
Ballpark Franks. So full of flavor, they plump when you cook them.
You know, I might just have enough for 2 ballparks.
17 years ago, I had a 5th grade student who needed just a little bit of extra attention.
Richardson! Nice play by Richardson. Richardson shot is good, but
He had a lot of potential. He just needed a little extra care to help him realize it.
Richardson is a one-man fast break.
I'm really excited that Prue Richardson made it to the NBA. But you want to know what I'm most proud of? I'm proud of the fact that he became a good student. To me, that will always be his greatest accomplishment.
Ernie Johnson and Chuck Daly in Atlanta, rigorously preparing for the Reebok halftime report, aren't we? The coach will deliver his analysis of the first half. We'll take another look at the Suns' remarkable comeback in Houston, and we'll hook up with Denver's Dan Issel as the Nuggets get set for Game 2 with the Jazz. It's all on the Reebok halftime report. Now we go back to the Omni to Pete and Mike, guys.
Okay, thank you, Ernie. It's 32-23. The Indiana Pacers have scored just 23 points with 7:16 to go in the half. At this pace, Indiana will end the night with 66 points, but that would not be their low for the season, Mike Fratello. Against the Cleveland Cavaliers this year, Indiana was once held to 61 points. How'd you do that?
It was one of those nights you'd like to say it was great defense, but Indiana just ran through one of those evenings where layups wouldn't go in, free throws wouldn't go in. They couldn't buy a basket that particular night, so we took it and moved on to the next night. We went back to their place where they beat us in their place.
Here's how Reggie Miller is checked back in as they try to get the offense cooking here for the Pacers. Haywood Workman also in there. Mookie Blaylock was checked back in. He got about a 6-minute break in this first half. The final minute of the first quarter and 5 minutes into the second quarter. Derek McKee's turnaround shot wouldn't go, and the rebound is pulled away by Mookie Blaylock. Blaylock to Elo. Elo with McKee coming at him. Rebounded by McKee. Now Derek McKee, 6'10", and he can play the point if he has to. Almost stolen by Elo. Now it is stolen by Elo. And a 2-on-1 break. Elo's going to finish for Atlanta. Craig Elo with the steal and the score. He's got 6. The Atlanta Hawks 34-23 now over Indiana. They've held the Pacers to 4 points in this second quarter. We're almost halfway through it.
Same thing has happened to Indiana in this game as happened in Game 1. Turnovers winding up being their big problem. It happened in the first quarter as Miller back cuts and misses the layup. Happened in the first quarter, 7 in Game 1. Turnovers for Indiana. Right now it's happened in the second quarter.
And the Pacers cannot find a hot hand. Mookie Blaylock to Dwayne Farrell off the glass. No. Rebound Reggie Miller to Workman. Workman alley-oops it, and 2 points for Dale Davis. His first 2 of the game. Makes it 34-25 and ends a long scoreless drought for Indiana.
As that pass was just taking place, Larry Brown was signaling for a 20-second timeout. I'm sure Larry's happy that he wasn't recognized on that particular one.
5.5 minutes to go in the half. Contact back in there. Uncovered, hits the jumper this time. He missed 3 of those in the first quarter. It's 36-25. Atlanta over Indiana by 11. Down to Rick Smith. Smith's drawing the double coverage. That leaves somebody uncovered. It's Workman, but his jumper is short. Rebound bounces off the floor. Still rolls loose. Contact finally comes away with it and gets fouled back there by Derek McKee. That is McKee's second. Kevin Willis checks back in, replacing Dwayne Farrell for Atlanta. And here comes Antonio Davis in for Rick Smits for Indiana. Under 5 minutes to go now. 36-25, very low-scoring first half. Another whistle away from the ball. A lot of fouls being called away from the ball tonight. Dale Davis called for that one, his first.
Trying to clean up the holding, the body checking, taking people out of their cuts in the playoffs. You have to call those kinds of whistles early in the game to dictate how it's going to be called.
Atlanta leading it by 11. Blaylock loops it down to Kevin Willis. He draws the double coverage. Kicks it back out to Contact. Good look at the basket by Contact, but the shot wouldn't go. But the putback by Kevin Willis does. 14 points for Willis. And Atlanta now leads it by 13, 38-25. Atlanta taking very good care of the basketball in this first half. They only have 3 turnovers and none in the last 11 minutes.
We mentioned that in game number 1, Kevin Willis only had the opportunity to get on the glass, okay, a couple of times to follow up for offensive rebounds. Here, by staying down low in the hole on the missed shot, gets the ball back up and in, gives us another scoring opportunity.
That's the first turnover in 11.5 minutes for Atlanta. Gives the ball back to Indiana. That last foul, by the way, was calling Derek McKee. That's his 3rd. And McKee complaining to Ed Rush as he heads for the bench, replaced by Sam Mitchell. Closing in on the 4-minute mark. And a 20-second timeout will be taken here by the Indiana Pacers. Larry Brown got their attention that time.
What Larry Brown is doing right now is telling the team, listen, we're 13 points down. Here's the goal we're going to shoot for. Let's get this thing down to around 7, 8 points, a workable, manageable number. We go in at the half, just like we were last game, down 6 at the half, come back out in the second half, and then go from there.
That's exactly what happened in game 1. You'll recall that Atlanta got up by 12 in the first half, and Indiana cut it to 6 by halftime. Coming up at halftime, the Reebok halftime report. Ernie Johnson in our Atlanta studios with New Jersey Nets head coach Chuck Daly. They'll have a live interview with the Nuggets head coach Dan Issel, plus they'll take another look at the Suns' overtime win over the Rockets. That's coming up on our Reebok halftime report.
Pete, the score 38-25 in favor of the Hawks. For some reason, I don't think my prediction I gave you before the game, the 140 to 139 score in the end, I don't think that's going to happen.
Unless we played 9, 10, 11 overtimes, maybe. We might get to that score. Now John Koncak called for his 2nd foul. We're in the penalty now, so Indiana will be shooting.
And this is one of the ways that you get the score back down before the half is to have the clock stop, put points on the board with the shot clock and game clock standing still, go to the foul line.
Flat first half for Reggie Miller. That's just his 4th point. He's only 1 for 6 from the field. Five points for Reggie Miller. 38-27. Under 4 minutes to go now in the half. Atlanta up by 11. Dangerous pass there, but Elo was able to control it out to John Koncak. Again, the wide open jumper. John Koncak not able to hit that shot except for once tonight. He's 1 for 6 now from the field. Miller dishing off to Antonio Davis. And the rookie from UTEP delivers his first basket of the game. And it's 38-29. Danny Manning with 8 points. Back up to an 11-point lead. Stolen by Mookie Blaylock. Another Indiana turnover, another Atlanta break. Getting a hand in was Sam Mitchell. Ball still belongs to the Hawks with 20 left in the shot clock.
Speaking with Larry Brown today, he mentioned that in game 1, he thought Reggie Miller was exhausted at a certain point in the game. At this point in the first half, Reggie Miller has only been on the floor for 9 minutes, Pete.
And we told you what his performance has been so far, just 1 for 6 from the field. Danny Manning heating up in his second quarter. 8 of his 10 points have come in the second quarter. He's 4 for 4 from the field in quarter number 2, and Atlanta back up by 13, 42-29. Reggie Miller losing the ball as he got into the paint, but it was last touched by Atlanta. 8 seconds on the shot clock. The Atlanta Hawks will call a timeout here. 2:49 remaining in the first half, and the Hawks in a very defensive-oriented first half leading.
The NBA playoffs on TNT are brought to you by Lex.
Reggie Miller playing defense is watching his man go away. He will eventually be the person that has to come back and help as his teammate chooses the wrong side. Goes to the outside. Now coming back, Miller just too small to guard Danny Manning. Manning 6'10", Miller at 6'3". The size difference, the weak side help, a little too small to affect Manning's shot.
42-39. You look at the numbers on Mookie Blaylock tonight. Indiana's turnovers got them in a hole in the first quarter in game 1. They've turned the ball over 6 times in the second quarter, leading to 8 Atlanta points. Atlanta's only turned the ball over once in the second quarter with no Indiana points coming off that turnover. 42-39, another Atlanta rebound. We've had 50 rebounds in this first half. 28 for the Hawks, 22 for Indiana. A lot of missed shots. Danny Manning having a good first half. That one wouldn't fall for him. The rebound is saved inbounds to Stacey Augmon, and he goes down with a foul call against Indiana. It's going to be on Mitchell. Sam Mitchell committing his second.
Tell your team, don't save the basketball under the other team's basket unless you're going to take it and throw it all the way back deep to half court. Well, the effort's there. You can't question that. But now when you come up and save it and throw it right into the hands of the guys with the white jerseys, that's the wrong team.
Stacey Augmon at the free throw line has 1 point in this first half. That came from the line. He's now 1 for 3. Here comes Andrew Lang back in for John Koncak. Andrew been a big part of the Atlanta defense with 3 blocked shots in this first half.
Everybody stay out of the lane until he shoots the ball.
Well, in the second half, Mike, of game 1, the Atlanta Hawks were held to 32 points, and that represented a low for an Atlanta team in 1 half during the playoffs, and right now they're working on doing the same thing to Indiana. Antonio Davis trying to get something going, and that wouldn't fall either, but the putback attempt did by Dale Davis. He has 4, and it's 43-31. Atlanta by 12, closing in on the 2-minute mark. Manning kicks it out to Willis. He'll take the jumper from the top of the circle. Workman the rebound.
I think Indiana will live with that shot right there. Go back and double down on Manning so he doesn't get the good post-up look. Let Willis shoot jumpers.
Again away from the ball. Whistle and a foul. Danny Manning called for his second.
So from the coach's standpoint, you accomplish what you want. You draw the double team down low by making the man at the top of the circle, Antonio Davis, rotate down. You see Miller fake like he's going to come over and rotate to Willis, but he had no intention of doing that. He was going to let Kevin Willis shoot that jumper the entire time.
Yeah, Larry Brown told us this morning if Kevin Willis shoots 18-foot jump shots, that's the shot we want him to take, and if he starts hitting him, all we can do is pat him on the back and say, nice going. Willis sits down now. Kevin with 14 points in the first half. And Reggie Miller having an extremely quiet night. 1 of 7 from the field. And just 6 points to show for this first half. 43-32. Atlanta by 11. Mookie Blaylock around and out. Rebound pulled away by Miller. Now Indiana on the run. Stacey staying right with Miller, though. Mitchell gets it back to Reggie Miller. He lost control briefly. He was open for a shot if he had caught it cleanly. Underneath, Haywood Workman. He had that ball rejected. Now Mookie Blaylock comes away with it. Well, the defense has been tenacious for Atlanta in this first half.
Not exactly the shot you want Haywood Workman taking. Under the basket, back to the hoop, not knowing how many big people were behind him, tried to turn and get it up over the top. Lost sight of where he was and who he's playing against for a moment.
Dwayne Farrell takes it baseline, has to bring it back out. He's got Manning open underneath. Danny Manning, 12 points in this first half. And Atlanta's lead back up to 13, 45-32.
Doesn't always look pretty with Danny Manning, but somehow he finds a way of putting the ball in the basket, and that's what he's supposed to do at the offensive end.
Open on Mitchell now. There's Dale Davis open underneath. Another good defensive play by Andrew Lang. Andrew Lang has played some big-time defense down low for Atlanta in this first half.
The things that we said about Indiana in the second half of game 1 are working now for Atlanta. They're a step quicker. They're getting to all the loose balls. They're going after them hard. Indiana's reaching right now instead of putting all the effort into it.
And the Hawks will use their 22nd timeout here. Got about a 6-second differential in the shot clock and the game clock. Shot clock at 18. As Atlanta has boosted its lead to 45-32.
Normally, when your team is shooting 40% from the floor, you're concerned, and that's what the Atlanta Hawks are doing. But their defense, their defensive intimidation against Indiana has the Pacers shooting just 31%, Pete.
I want to remind you in Game 2 of tonight's TNT NBA playoff doubleheader. It'll be Game 2 in the series between the Denver Nuggets and the Utah Jazz. Utah leading that best-of-7 series, 1 game to none. But we all know how Denver came back in the series with Seattle down 2-0. Being down 1 doesn't affect them at all. I don't think anything's going to affect them. They're so happy to be where they are. They have absolutely no pressure on them.
And I'm sure that Dan Issel has reminded them about just that fact that, listen, nobody gave you a chance to get through the first round. You've accomplished that much. And now the pressure's not on us. The pressure's on them for fear that, gosh, we can't lose to them the way Seattle did.
Under 20 seconds now, Mookie Blaylock trying to shake free of Workman. Workman's done a good job on Mookie Blaylock, sticking with him defensively in this series so far. This time he stayed too close to him, picked up a second foul. We went back and looked up on Mookie Blaylock, Mike. Mookie's shooting percentages in games the Hawks won and his shooting percentages in games the Hawks lost. And how vital is he to the Hawks? In the games the Hawks won during the regular season, Mookie shot the ball at a 44% clip. In the games the Hawks lost during the regular season, Mookie shot the ball at a 33% clip. And during the playoffs, look what it's been. 39% in the wins, just 20% in the losses. So you can see how vital it is for Mookie Blaylock to have a good night offensively for Atlanta to win a game.
And that's just the reason why so many teams then come out and play against the Hawks and basically say Blaylock has to take and make perimeter shots on a regular basis before we're going to come out and challenge him. So on pick and roll situations, they go under the pick and rolls. On rotations, they don't run at him real hard. On the other hand, he burns a lot of people when he starts making those three-pointers.
Atlanta now up by 15, their biggest lead of this first half, 47-32. Indiana will get a final shot here. Dwayne Farrell beat the buzzer in quarter number 1 for Atlanta. Let's see if Indiana has a buzzer beater in them here at halftime. It's going to be Byron Scott. It's short. The rebound pulled away by Adam Keith, and a very impressive first half played by Atlanta. They did the same thing to Indiana that Indiana did to them in the second half of game 1. They held them to 32 points. Danny Manning with a 12-point first half, including 5 for 5 from the field in quarter number 2. Atlanta leads at 47-32. Coming up next, our Reebok halftime report. Dale Davis and Rick Smits for Indiana. And Danny Manning got a hand in there. The shot clock shows 9. Workman mismatched with contact. Now the shot clock is down to 3, down to 1. It's only 1 second showing on the shot clock. Indiana still has the ball. 11:37 left in this third quarter. And a shot clock violation gives the ball back to Atlanta.
Sometimes you can just tell when you look at the team out on the floor, they're a step slow, their heads aren't in the game. It's almost as if they're saying to themselves, and Indiana looked this way in the first half, that, look, we got the first win here. That's a big plus for us. We hope to come in and steal one. If you get down like this, suddenly what can happen is the players say, hey, look, that's out of the way. We got one win here. Let's start worried about going back home. That's what Larry Brown is trying to fight right now with his team, to get him back focused on this game, try to get it back close enough to give themselves a chance down the stretch. And on the other end of the court, what Lenny Wilkins is looking for is that same energy level he got from his team in the first half. He didn't get that in the second half in game 1. Mookie Blaylock. Nope, the rebound pulled away by Reggie Miller. Miller, a very quiet first half. Just 1 of 7 from the field. Stacey Ogman's done a good job on Reggie Miller, staying with him, preventing him from getting that open shot when he comes around those screens. Haywood Workman gets the bucket for Indiana. He's got 5 points, 13-point lead for Atlanta. Indiana that time making the extra pass. Atlanta's hustling defense, trying to smother Reggie Miller. Does a nice job of drawing 2 defenders, then kicking back to his teammate, backcourt partner, Haywood Workman. Stacey Ogman had the ball stripped away by Rick Smits, off to Reggie Miller. Now he gives it to Smits, who will stop and fire over John Koncak, and Rick Smits with 6 points. Indiana's got the first 4 points of this third quarter. And the crowd getting a little restless as they remember what happened here 2 nights ago. Pacers like to look for Rick Smits in transition. He's a good jump shooter from the top of the circle foul line area. Line jumper, no. Rebounded by Derek McKee. Indiana with a chance to
run a quick 6 points off on the Hawks here to start the third.
Pacers score now. You'll see a quick timeout by Lenny Wilkins to try and slow this thing up and get his team's head back in the game.
Dale Davis getting the put back. He's got 6 points. Indiana scored 6 straight to start the third quarter. The Hawks lead is down to 47-38. 10:03 to go in the third. Coming all the way back from being 12 down. Well, they were down by 15 at the half here tonight. And they've cut that to 9. Atlanta's ball as play resumes. Mookie Blaylock will bring it down for the Hawks. Picked up by Workman. Ogman's shot was partially blocked. Kevin Willis down to 3 seconds on the shot clock. Mookie Blaylock's going to have to force one hit to use the buzzer and can't do it. And the rebound, fortunately for Atlanta, falls into Kevin Willis's hands, but he misfires too. And Reggie Miller a rebound. Now Indiana get it down to 7.
What happened to Kevin Willis is he got caught in that decision-making process. Should I hurry up and take a quick shot, get the offensive rebound? He started to pass it up, and they said, wait a minute, this is a good look for me. 8 feet away, shot it short.
Deep rebound to Mookie Blaylock. A 3-on-2 Hawks break. Kevin Willis going in to finish it. And the Hawks finally on the board here in the third quarter. 16 points for Kevin Willis. It is 49-38. Atlanta leading Indiana.
Very important last possession for Indiana. That was the opportunity right there to shake Atlanta just a little bit more by cutting into the league. Instead, they didn't get the kind of shot that Larry Brown, I'm sure, wanted last time down.
Now we get a foul call against Danny Manning. That's his third. Pretty good numbers right there for Larry Brown's Pacers, coming from behind in all 4 of their playoff wins. And don't forget, they won their last 8 regular season games, too. They have not lost in a while. 12 in a row this team has won. Rick Smits has 8. Stacey Augmon trying for a quick answer on the other end. Gets it, drew the foul. That's Stacey Augmon's first field goal. He has 4 points. It's 51-40 Atlanta. 4 fouls now on Derek McGee. Ken Williams checking into the lineup for the first time tonight as Derek McGee in foul trouble. He got in foul trouble in the first half of game 1. Five points now for Stacey Augmon, and the Hawks have upped the lead to 52-40. 8.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Smith's got around John Contact, couldn't get the bounce though, but the offensive rebound is pulled away by Ken Williams. He gets his first 2 of the night. 10-point lead for Atlanta. Gets the roll. How does he do it on some of those shots?
Has the ability to get it up just before the defense can react and get to the basketball. And with his size at 6'10", it doesn't have to travel that far the ball, so that soft touch allows him to get a lot of good rolls.
14 points for Manning, 6 of 7 from the field in the last 2 quarters. Stacey Augmon and Haywood Workman. They're going to call the foul on Stacey Augmon. Workman took a spill.
I'm not so sure that Lenny Wilkins agrees with this call. Haywood Workman just going straight up in the air. The official feeling that Stacey Augmon taking the ball into Workman caused the contact, calls the offensive foul. Close one right there. Tough one to call.
And Andrew Lang, who had 4 blocked shots in the first half, now checks in, replacing John Contact. 54-42 Atlanta. Davis trying to get it down low to Antonio Davis, who is back in the lineup for Indiana. And Kevin Willis is called for his second personal. Now look at tonight's GMC scoreboard. And don't forget the second game of our TNT doubleheader tonight. Denver and Utah, game 2 of their series, with Utah leading it 1 game to none. Reggie Miller over Lang. No. Rebound lost by Willis. Picked up by Manning. Off to Blaylock.
Danny Manning with 6 boards in this one. Dishing off to Andrew Lang. Lang down low to Kevin Willis. The jump hook by Willis is short. Last touch by Ken Williams. Hawks will have 10 seconds left on the shot clock.
With Reggie Miller having this kind of an evening where he's shooting the basketball 1 for 8 from the floor, it just takes away so many of the other things that the Pacer team is used to doing. One in particular, the ability of the big men to get to the offensive glass while the other teammates are jumping out, trying to help the man guarding Reggie Miller. Right now, he's not able to knock it down on a regular basis. They don't have to jump out and help as much.
First foul of the night called against Ken Williams. And with under 7 minutes to go now in the third quarter, Atlanta leading it by 12. Mookie Blaylock trying once tonight in three-point territory, hits it. His first 3 of the night. He has 11 points. That's only the second three-point basket hit tonight by Atlanta. The other one a first quarter buzzer beater by Dwayne Farrell. 57-42, matching their biggest lead. A wide open lane for Haywood Workman. Missed it. Manning the rebound to Mookie Blaylock. Mookie no look into Kevin Willis. And the energy level is back for Atlanta.
I mentioned earlier in the first half the ability of Kevin Willis to change ends of the floor. You're talking about Willis right there under the basket, taking off as soon as Atlanta secures the defensive rebound. And then Mookie Blaylock rewarding the big man. Concentration by Willis as he's fouled on top of the head. Finishes the play, and now the opportunity for the three-point play.
Tonight for Kevin Willis. Remember, Indiana scored the first 6 points in this quarter to cut Atlanta's lead to 9. Now Atlanta's opened up a 17-point lead. Their biggest of the night. Timeout, Pacers.
Basketball, pick and roll basketball. When the big man at the top of the circle comes over and sets a screen for his teammate, the player who has the basketball in this particular situation, the defense has to make a decision. Do they try to get over the top, or do they go underneath the screen, challenging the man to shoot a jump shot? On the last series for the Atlanta Hawks, the screen takes place for Mookie Blaylock, and Haywood Workman decides he's going underneath the screen, which will let Blaylock go behind it and get a quick look at the basket. Anytime the defense goes under, the offensive player should have the ability to get a quick look. That time he knocks it down.
And Atlanta on a 7-0 run the last minute 50 seconds, opening up a 59-42 lead with 6:22 to go in quarter number 3. The Hawks trying to even up this best-of-7 series with Indiana. Game 3 will be up in Indianapolis on Saturday. Kenny Williams around and out, rebound, battled for, finally pulled away by Workman out near the top of the circle. He'll shoot from out there. Too strong, rebound, Mookie Blaylock. He's got 6 rebounds tonight. Down to Stacey Ogden. Ogden can finish this one and does. He's got 7 points. Hawks now lead it by 19.
One thing Atlanta really feels right now is that Indiana is not hurting them on the offensive boards with second and third shot opportunities. Atlanta feels they're securing the defensive rebounds. When the shot goes up, they're filling the lanes. The wings are out there early. They've got numbers early against Indiana's transition defense.
Antonio Davis back out to Reggie Miller. Reggie, again, the shot wasn't there. Another clock violation on Indiana. The Hawks defense tonight has been unbelievably strong against these Indiana Pacers. Indiana shooting at just a 32% clip in the night. We've had 2 clock violations. Andrew Lang has blocked 4 shots. Reggie Miller is not getting any kind of a look at the basket, just 1 for 8 from the field. And the energy level that Lenny Wilkins is looking for is certainly there for Atlanta in this third quarter. In fact, the energy level of this third quarter may be a little above what it was in the first half. Indiana looks like the tired team right now, don't they, Mike?
Exactly. You're exactly right. This is a tired-looking Indiana team. Similar to what we said about Atlanta in the second half of game 1. The difference, Indiana, with the exception of the beginning of the game, the first few minutes, has looked this way throughout the night.
Kevin Willis picking up his 3rd foul. 5:01 to go in the third. 61-42. Again, we're more than halfway through the quarter, and Indiana on a pace to score about 17 or 18 points. Underneath Antonio Davis, he's one of the guys that got him going in the third quarter in game 1. That's his 4th point tonight. Atlanta leads by 17. Inside, Andrew Lang Great ball movement by Atlanta, but Lang's shot is short, and the rebound attempts come up short as well. Danny Manning tied up by Dale Davis. They're going to get a jump ball. Indiana wanted a travel call.
Travel with a little help from one of their teammates that time as he tied Danny Manning up.
Dwayne Farrell's going to check back in the Atlanta lineup. Kevin Willis will sit down. Willis with 18 points tonight. He also has 14 rebounds and no turnovers. Lang steals it. Ricky Blaylock had the ball stripped away. Workman and Dwayne Farrell both going after the ball. Last touch by Farrell. Haywood Workman. And Vern Fleming's going to check back in. And the next dead ball for Indiana.
Wasn't up at the table in time, therefore the officials did not allow him to enter the game. Must wait for the next dead ball situation.
Out it comes to Reggie Miller, and there's Stacey Augmon on him again. Danny Manning flying at him. Again, the shot misses by Miller, but he will go to the free throw line. And I'll tell you what, Stacey Augmon, Reggie Miller hasn't been able to turn around tonight without seeing Stacey Augmon right there.
Stacey Augmon right now has the great belief that whichever way he goes, this time he starts to go through on the screen, then changes his mind at the last second that even when he's faked out, a teammate will cover for him. Who's the teammate? That time Danny Manning at 6'10", leaving the screener to run out and challenge the jump shooter.
And Reggie Miller with 7 points now. He still only has 1 field goal on the night and 8 attempts. Elo in for Augmon for Atlanta.
To be a good defensive team, there has to be a trust. There must be a belief in one another. That if one man is doing his assignment, as a result, he is beaten, a teammate will be there to cover for him. And that teammate that has left his man has to believe that someone else will rotate and cover for him. Must believe and trust each other to be a good defensive team.
Under 4 minutes now in the third quarter, 61-45 Atlanta. 5 left in the shot clock. Greg Elo hits the J. He's got 8. And the Atlanta lead is back up to 17, 63-46. Now it's Elo's job to guard Reggie Miller. They give it down low to Rick Smith. Inside Fleming, 5 left on the shot clock. Indiana's already had 2 shot clock violations here, but Fleming saves them that time. He's got 6. 63-48 Atlanta.
Because no one is making perimeter shots for Indiana, it's a very compact Indiana offense. Everybody is inside the paint area. Even when Atlanta doubles down on the block and they kick out, they're able to recover defensively, Atlanta, because there's no spacing behind the three-point line.
Illegal defense, the call against the Indiana Pacers. That's their first. Byron Scott checks in, replacing Reggie Miller. And Lenny Wilkins wants the same kind of defensive concentration on Byron Scott when he's in there.
He was angered that in game 1, Byron Scott comes in the game immediately. They lose sight of who he is and where he is. They give up a three-point shot to Byron Scott. One of the guys that they're trying to take away from shooting the perimeter shot, Byron Scott, along with Reggie Miller.
Ken Williams over Kevin Willis. Elo the rebound. Hawks continue to dominate the boards tonight after being out-rebounded badly in game 1. Another whistle from Joe Crawford. A slick spot on the court down there along the baseline. Don't forget, coming up in game 2 of tonight's TNT doubleheader, the Denver Nuggets and Utah Jazz. Game 2 of their series. Utah leading in the series 1-0. That'll be coming your way from the Delta Center right after this one. Indiana trying to get one more run in before this quarter is over, although after the finish last night in the Houston-Phoenix game, no lead looks safe anymore going into the fourth quarter.
I would guess that Larry Brown's going to bring in Reggie Miller and play him as a small forward and try to get 2 3-point shooters out on the floor in Byron Scott and Reggie Miller. Take a chance that they won't get hurt on the offensive board because of Dwayne Farrell's size against Reggie Miller. They'll try to pick up the offense that way.
Dwayne Farrell with nowhere to go. And Kenny Williams wrestles the ball away from him down to Byron Scott. Scott's going to try to take it all the way in himself. And he got fouled. Kevin Willis called for his fourth.
Farrell gets the shot, blocked the first time. It's a clean block. Comes back up, but then gets stripped by the Indiana defense, which in turn leads to the transition opportunity for Byron Scott. The Hawks trying to get back in transition. The foul called as Scott takes it to the rim.
They just changed the foul call. Instead of on Willis, it's going to be on Andrew Lang, his second. Dale Davis checking back in, replacing Rick Smits. Byron Scott has his first points of the night. 63-50, Atlanta by 13 with 2:20 to go, third quarter.
This may be an opportunity for Indiana to get some shots for Reggie Miller because you've got Stacey Augmon out of there. That means Dwayne Farrell has to chase him around those screens, and not quite as long a player defensively as Stacey Augmon.
Kevin Willis, the jump hook from 10 feet. He has scored 20. The lead back up to 15. Kevin Willis, 20 points, 14 rebounds tonight. Under 2 minutes to go now in the third quarter. Here comes Reggie Miller around those screens, but the pass goes inside, and it's kicked away and recovered by Atlanta. Andrew Lang.
And Atlanta's not going to play Dwayne Farrell on Reggie Miller. Instead, they go back to a guy who's just as pesky and bothersome as Stacey Augmon. Craig Eagle is going to match up with him at the defensive end.
Into Kevin Willis. He missed the slam, but drew the foul.
From the two-man game, the pick and roll, Kevin Willis sees both defensive players jump out at the ball, so he slips the screen. Indiana's defense, Antonio Davis a little late coming over on the rotation. Goes up to try and block it. Kevin Willis tries to put it in the rim. Can't do it, but draws the contact.
Kevin Willis with 20 points tonight. He's 2 of 3 from the free throw line. Just showed us something new. You can get called for a foul for taunting, but I guess you can trash talk to a television camera all you want, huh?
Nobody to talk back to you.
Just 3 free throws in a row. 65-50 the score remains. Down to 1:18 to go in the third. They get it to Reggie. 3-point territory. He still can't get his shot to fall. Byron Scott the rebound. He puts it up over Elo and drew the foul. And Craig Elo complains about that to Jack Nees. But he will be charged with his second. Reggie Miller, meanwhile, continues to be ice cold. 1 for 9 from the field tonight. Scott also having a cold night from the field, 0 for 5. So Miller and Scott between them, 1 for 14. Boy, you won't see that happen very often. Indiana has cut Atlanta's lead to 14. Scott with a free throw miss. after making the first one, but Antonio Davis got the rebound. Fleming over in the corner to Byron Scott. This is a three. If it goes, it goes. And Byron Scott with 6 points in this quarter has got it back down to an 11-point game.
As soon as he released it, you could see Lenny Wilkins with a look on his face as if to say, oh no, just what we don't need, the steal by Indiana.
Careless pass, and it's going to result in a Indiana basket, maybe. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. Rebound Lang. 0 for 5 on that trip for the Indiana Pacers. It looked like a volleyball game there for 2 or 3 of those tips.
It was Dale Davis jumping against himself. He just couldn't put it down.
And Atlanta gets it back under 30 seconds to go now. 65-54. Kevin Willis, the jumper over Davis off the glass. No. Rebound. Offensive board. Craig Elo. Elo back into the paint. Off the glass. No. Rebound comes off the floor to Vern Fleming. Byron Scott all the way to the baseline, brings it back out. Indiana's going to play for a final shot here in the third quarter and try to cut Atlanta's lead back into the single-digit area. A three-pointer by Reggie Miller. He finally got one to go, and Indiana has showed some life here at the end of quarter number 3. Down by 15 at the half. They got down by as many as 17 in this third quarter. But it's only an 8-point game. 65-57 with 1 quarter to go in game 2. 65-47 in quarter number 3 on game 1. Indiana outscored Atlanta 32-19. They've turned it around here in game 2. 25-18 in the third.
You must always be aware of time and score. In the first quarter, Atlanta got a rebound back, kicked it to Kevin Willis, who shot it early. Willis takes a shot here with about 27 seconds remaining on the clock. Elo gets the rebound, but then with about 21 left, he drives to the basket and takes what we would consider to be a low percentage shot. It does not work in their favor. Rather than back it out and go for the last shot of the quarter, up 11 points, they let Indiana bring it back down, run a set play, screen down on Reggie Miller, who gets a clean look, hits a 3 right before the end of the quarter, and suddenly you're back in an 8-point basketball game. Clock management, time management, you must know time and score.
Wayne Burrell takes and makes the first shot of quarter number 4. His only other basket, the 3-point buzzer beater at the end of the first quarter. Hawks up by 10, 57, 67, 57. And let's see if that little flurry at the end of the third quarter gets Indiana's energy back. Craig stole the ball but stepped in the line. 8 seconds left on the 24-second clock. Lang, Willis, Farrell, Watley, and Elo for Atlanta. The Davises, Dale and Antonio. Derek McKee back in there along with Byron Scott and Reggie Fleming for Indiana. Down to 3 left in the shot clock. And there's a tough foul, and Joey Crawford glaring over at that Atlanta bench. Call for his third. Fleming to Byron Scott. Byron Scott shot couldn't go. The rebound, Kevin Willis almost walked with it. Got 15 rebounds. Burrell getting a hot hand early in the fourth quarter. 2 in a row. He's got 7 points on the night. And Atlanta's lead back up to 12, 69-57.
This is what made the Hawks such a good team during the regular season, that they had consistent play from the people coming in off the bench. When they sit down, their main guys, people coming in like Burrell would step up and do the job for them.
And Dale Davis going toward the hole, drew the foul. And Farrell called for his first. Well, you mentioned at the very outset tonight that the play of the bench was a deciding factor for Indiana in game 1, and it could very well be a deciding factor not only for the points that the bench is scoring, but once again in this second half, as we saw in the first half, Mike, the fact that the bench has been able to come in and extend the lead has given Mookie Blaylock some more resting time, which is important for him.
It also gives the coaching staff more confidence in the people that are out there during those minutes that you're resting the main guys, because you have to feel comfortable that the team that's on the floor can either maintain or build on the lead that you have at that time. The one thing you don't want to have happen is put a group on the floor and suddenly have the game turn around 6, 8, 10-point reversal and score.
Couple of misses by Dale Davis. The battle for the rebound, and another whistle. Mario Davis's third. And Enos Wadley will bring it down now against Vern Fleming. Got away from Fleming, takes it into the paint, kicks it back outside to Farrell. He's got the hot hand. This time he misses. And the rebound out of bounds off Elo. It belongs to Indiana. 69-57. Atlanta leading it by 12 with lots of time left. Almost 10.5 minutes. Seconds left on the shot clock. Byron Scott comes up short. Rebound comes up deep to Elo. Elo to Enos Wadley. Wadley off the glass for his first 2 points of this game. The lead is back to 14. The Hawks have a good crowd back in this game.
You'd expect a $40,000 luxury sedan to be tested like this, to some of the most rigorous standards of quality.
The ball right up there on the backcourt. The problem, you got 2 7-footers and Kevin Willis and Andrew Lang back there that will come over and try to close down the lane and try to block the shot. The intimidation factor is there. Scott knew who was coming over. It leads to the lanes being filled by the Hawks' unselfish basketball. Elo finding Watley for the score.
Atlanta staying with the same combination of Elo, Willis, Farrell, Lang, and Watley. Larry Brown goes to a bigger lineup as Rick Smits checks back in, along with Derek McGee, Byron Scott, Dale Davis, and Vern Fleming. Basket Fleming and a chance for a three-point play. Enos Wadley called for his second. Vern Fleming, 10-year veteran out of Georgia. One of these three-point guards this year when Pooh Richardson was healthy. He's on the injured list and not pressed for the playoffs.
And it was a way of wearing down opposing point guards. They would extend their defense, pick up full court, and make that guy from the other team have a nightmare trying to bring it up against 3 different types of defensive player. And right now, Larry Brown has extended the defense once again, trying to force a turnover, trying to get an easy score, get right back in the game again with a quick deuce.
The Pacers down by 11 to the Hawks with 9.5 minutes remaining. Down it comes to Lang, 5 left in the shot clock. Offensive save by Farrell out to Watley. Watley and Fleming. And they're going to say that Fleming pushed him out. So Vern Fleming called for his second foul.
You had to scramble for the ball, and what was taking place, Watley knew it was on its way out. He's trying to call a 20-second timeout. Fleming's trying to stay away from fouling him. The official calls the foul, so Watley doesn't have to use up the 20.
Farrell. Derek McGee comes out to get him. Farrell tries to get faster. Rick Smits blocked it, but we had a whistle before the shot. And Derek McGee is called for his 5th personal. John Koncak and Danny Manning have checked back in, replacing Willis and Lang. At the line, Dwayne Farrell. Farrell, Mike, a player who really had to understand his role this year. If you look at Kenny Williams checking back in for Indiana, because there were stretches of games that Atlanta played this year where Dwayne Farrell hardly got any minutes. And then there were other teams against whom the matchups were better for the smaller lineup, but Dwayne Farrell got a lot of minutes. So he might go from a didn't play coach's decision one game to playing 27 to 30 minutes the next game.
The only thing that matters is that Dwayne Farrell understands what type of coach Lenny Wilkins is and what his substitution patterns are like. If there are nights when the matchups are good, that Lenny will play him more minutes. Other nights when he doesn't feel that way, he's not going to play him. As long as he understands and the lines of communication remain open. And Wilkins told us that yesterday, that from the beginning of training camp, they spent a lot of time individually speaking with players to try to let them understand what they're all about as a new coaching staff coming in.
Comes up short. Watley pulls away the rebound. Atlanta with a 12-point lead and the ball. 8:38 remaining. seconds left in the shot clock. Concact will take it. Comes up short. Kenny Williams the rebound. Kicks it out to Reggie Miller, who's checked back in for Indiana. Reggie Miller going coast to coast, drawing the foul. He'll go to the line.
From the time Reggie Miller had the ball in the left lane, foul line extended, he looked up, kept his head up, saw that it was John Concact that was back there, knew that Concact would not be able to move his feet against the quicker Miller, kept it on the floor, took it right into him, drew the foul, and he feels pretty comfortable going to the foul line, shooting free throws, this guy.
I would say number 2 in the NBA, 91%. He has missed one tonight. He's 7 for 8 now from the line, 12 points overall. Here comes Mookie Blaylock. So let's see. He got 6 minutes off in the first half. And in the second half, he got about another 6. So his minutes are going to be a little closer to where they were during the regular season in tonight's game. Second miss of the night for Reggie Miller from the free throw line. That hardly ever happens. An 11-point lead for Atlanta. John Concact all alone underneath for his 4th point.
Excellent read that time by Craig Elo. He felt the big man switch out as he came off a Concact screen. Concact went right to the basket. A big enough target underneath for most people to see.
74-61 Atlanta. They're going to get the ball back as an offensive foul has been called on Rick Smits, his second personal. That's going to give the ball back to Atlanta, who can build that lead back up to 15 if they can score on this trip. Again, in this quarter, they have held Indiana to just 1 field goal. And it comes Danny Manning. Whoa, look at that shot. 16 points for Manning and a chance for a 3-point play.
Just the feel for the game of basketball, knowing that he's on his way, but also knowing the defensive man at 7'4" is coming after him to block it. Manning spins away from him, has presence enough to know where the rim is able to take the foul and convert at the same time. Danny Manning.
Finishing off the 3-point play, giving him 17 points and building the Atlanta lead back up to 16, 77-61. And we're starting to reach that point in the game for Indiana where they need to make a definitive run at the Hawks here, or this one's going to be over. Reggie Miller's going to try one from out of the 3-point land. It's strong, and the rebound pulled away by Mookie Blaylock, who has 8 rebounds tonight. Craig Elo. No whistle, they're saying. But the ball's going to go back to Atlanta with 19 seconds left on the shot clock. .7:10 the time left. Trying to get it inside the Manning. He got fouled. Dale Davis called for it. And a timeout. With Atlanta leading by 16.
Coming this fall, Sunday Night NFL on TNT.
Company dress code requires that.
Danny Manning makes them both. Hawks on a 14-4 run here in the 4th quarter. 19 in the night for Danny Manning. Atlanta leading it by 18. Reggie Miller inside wouldn't go, but the tip does by Antonio Davis. Giving him 6. Atlanta by 16. No, rebound Kenny Williams off to Reggie Miller. He tries to alley-oop it. Concact got a hand up. Danny Manning recovers out near midcourt. And See, even now with Mookie Blaylock in the game, the last 3 trips down the court for Atlanta, it's been Danny Manning handling the ball. So Mookie getting a break even when he's on the court.
Someone else stepping up, taking some of the pressure off of Mookie. And when you have a player as versatile as Danny Manning, he can pass the basketball, sees the floor, can handle the ball, and you're not afraid to give it to him in the middle of a fast break because he'll most likely make good decisions.
Still have a lot of time left, 6:19, but barring a strong Indiana run here in the 4th quarter, looks like this series will head up to Indianapolis, tie it up for Game 3 at Market Square Arena.
And it's been a trademark of the Hawks team throughout the season. They have been very consistent in the ability to bounce back when they face some adversity. In fact, not counting that initial early road trip out west, Pete.
Yeah, they lost 4 in a row, the games 2 through 5 of the season.
Then they never lost more than 2 in a row the remainder of the season. Once they lost 2, they righted the ship, got right back on the winning ways.
Antonio Davis, nope, the rebound, John Contact. Hands it off to Mookie. 80-63 is our score. Atlanta up by 17 and trying to match their biggest lead if they can score on this possession. Down to 6 left in the shot clock now. Blaylock lost his footing, tried to get it over to Elo, and Elo lost it out of bounds. But they used up 23 more seconds. First turnover of the quarter for Atlanta. Hawks have only had 9 turnovers all night. Again, they try the alley-oop pass, and again, they turn the ball over. That's 15 Indiana turnovers.
And the reason that took place once again was Atlanta's defense switched out on Reggie Miller to take away the jumper. The big man setting the screen went to the basket. They tried to find him underneath. Another turnover.
Look at Mookie Blaylock hustle to that rebound. Elo hits the 3. 11 points for Craig Elo after a hustle rebound for Mookie Blaylock. The Hawks have their biggest lead with only 4:52 remaining. Snapped at Market Square Arena against Indiana. And now the Indiana Pacers, who have won 12 in a row, might have their longest winning streak of the year, snapped by Atlanta.
You don't think anyone reminded them of that? Do you by any chance?
It might have been mentioned a couple of times. Another clock violation. That's the 3rd that the Indiana Pacers have been guilty of tonight. And Larry Brown beginning to look down his bench. May be about willing to concede in this one. Elo back inside the Manning, tipped out by Davis. Here comes Kenny Williams and Lyron Scott back into the game for the Indiana Pacers, replacing Miller and McKee. Reggie Miller, a quiet night, 12 points. Only 2 of 13 from the field. Going Atlanta's way tonight. All the things that went wrong for the Hawks in Game 1 going wrong for the Pacers in Game 2.
About that time as a coach where you start thinking, get the key guys out. The lead is enough to hold on for the rest of the game. Don't let anyone get hurt that you need to play a lot of minutes in these upcoming games.
Especially when you remember that it's going to be back-to-back games on Saturday and Sunday. Game 3 in Indiana, so they're going to need some energy. Lyron Scott got hurt on that last exchange. And he's still in some pain out at the midcourt line.
A look at where the collision took place, where Scott was injured. He ball fakes, tries to go by. Manning loses his footing, and right there the collision. Scott grabbing himself in the lower abdomen area. No intentional foul that time by Manning.
Craig Elo at the line. A 22-point Atlanta lead. $14 points for Craig Elo. Hawks on a 14-2 run here in the closing minutes of the 4th quarter. by Atlanta. Danny Manning dishing off to Elo. Kicks it back outside to Mookie Blaylock. Dwayne Farrell wide open in the corner. Kenny Williams the rebound. Indiana scored only 6 points in this quarter. There are 3 minutes and 10 seconds left. Concac got a hand up, another Indiana turnover.
When to shoot, when to pass. That was a shot time instead of a pass time for Hayward Workman.
And Dwayne Farrell takes a hard spill. He'll go to the free throw line.
Number 33, Antonio Davis. This quarter,
the Atlanta Hawks have a chance to limit the Indiana Pacers to their all-time low in a playoff game. In fact, it's almost a given they'll do it. The fewest points ever scored by Indiana in a playoff game, 85 back in 1981. They have only 65 points with 2:37 to go. So a tremendous defensive effort by the Atlanta Hawks tonight on the Indiana Pacers.
Well, if the Pacers are going to get 85 points tonight, they need that hurry-up offense right now to start kicking in.
It's going to be a tough task with 2:37 all the time that's left. You get a feeling as you watch these two teams battle, this might be one of those series that goes all the way to the wire.
Both teams have positives to talk about going back to Indianapolis. As far as Lenny Wilkins, he tells the team, okay, look, we bounced back. We were down 0-1. We had to win that game. Our backs have been to the wall before. In the Miami series, he congratulates them for doing the job that they had to do, and they're right back in the series again. As far as Larry Brown's concerned, we wanted to win and steal one game. Well, they got that one game. We go back home before our crowd now.
Another rebound for Concac. Adam Keefe in the game now. Concac with 5 rebounds tonight. And you know that eventually Reggie Miller is going to break out and have a good shooting night. He's had 2 poor shooting nights in the first 2 games of the series here. Concac from outside. Everything working for Atlanta. 6 points for Concac. 90-65 Hawks. Under 2 minutes to go. Inside, Derek McKee. Boy, the Pacers can't get anything to fall for him. McKee finally cashes in his 8th point, but it's still only been an 8-point quarter for Indiana. Rebound, Antonio Davis. 1:20 to go. So now we've seen the Indiana Pacers come to Atlanta and win game 1. The Atlanta Hawks rebounding in a big way to even up the series here in game 2. And it now heads back to Market Square Arena for game 3 on Saturday, game 4 on Sunday. And one thing this win by Atlanta does assure this Hawks crowd is there'll be at least one more game here at the Omni this year. Game 5 will come back here.
Playing every other day, as they will do now, playing Tuesday, Thursday, then Saturday again. It does not allow you to do a lot of work on those days off in between, Pete. So what you do is you use your tapes, you use your blackboard sessions, you walk through a lot, you get their legs well rested so they can come back in the next game and perform.
Well, a very animated crowd here at the Omni tonight, and they've been on their feet now for about the last couple of minutes. Just admiring the job that the Hawks have done tonight against Indiana. 8 points for Concac. It's 92-69 in the closing seconds of game 2. The Hawks and Pacers will be even at 1 win each in this best-of-7 set. Tonight's Budweiser player of the game, we're going to give it to Mookie Blaylock with that triple-double, the 3rd one he's had this year, the 4th of his career. You see the minutes. Well, they were up a little higher than I thought, 39. I thought he was down closer to 36, but he does get the triple-double, 11 points, 13 assists, 10 rebounds. And Budweiser will donate $1,000 on behalf of Mookie Blaylock to the United Negro College Fund. Crowd standing here as the seconds tick away at the Omni. And this series is dead even at 1 game each. The Atlanta Hawks winning it 92-69. Mookie Blaylock will join us here at the Omni for some post-game comments right after this.